What's up everyone, it's Phoenix here, bringing you guys another reaction video. Today it's Polygon and Kotaku attack Guild Wars 2 for firing game devs who mocked official partners. So I saw this title from a YouTuber that I'm pretty reliable. He does a lot of news, gaming related news videos, and I thought it would be interesting to see what this is all about. Now, normally I don't really like to react to drama, but I think that this is interesting because there are two game game sort of gaming bloggers, media outlets, I guess is the term, media outlets that are pretty well known and have definitely sparked controversy. And I haven't heard the story, and I'm interested to see what this is all about. This is from Legacy Killer HD, and yeah. So before we get into this, as a response to my last video, the video that I posted on YouTube, at this time, I do not actually know where I'm going to put this because one of the reasons that I made that video was because a good friend of mine's channel was terminated. But now it's restored. It's finally restored after a long, hard battle, and I'm not sure exactly where I stand right now. I will post it to both Twitch and YouTube, I think, because I do want to actually test out Twitch's video on demand service and how it works and how well it's getting promoted, and if it's an actual suitable replacement, perhaps. I know it exists, I just don't know the extent of how good it is or whatever. But anyways, that's irrelevant. Let's get into the video. Here we go. Let's react.
This has to be one of the most bizarre reactions to a deserved firing. I personally don't play Guild Wars 2, which is why there will be some completely unrelated gameplay in the background of this video, but there has been a recent controversy we need to address. If you have not heard, Jessica Price and Peter Fries were game developers that worked at ArenaNet, best known for their work on Guild Wars. Right, Jessica Price is, as far as I understand, a very vocal game developer that discusses a lot of issues in gaming like inclusivity, but she's also someone who has stirred up controversy before for her comments following John Bain, or as he most notably was known as, Total Biscuit's passing. Immediately following his passing, she tweeted, "The kindest thing I can say is I'm glad he, being Total Biscuit, is no longer around to keep doing harm." Anyway, now recently Jessica Price started a Twitter thread which just was the start of a huge mess. And this Twitter thread started out with her saying, "Since I spent all kinds of time saying it on a Reddit AMA, and I haven't talked about actual game development on Twitter in a while, here's a thread about writing for the PC character in an MMO." She next tweets, "The dirty secret is I'm not sure if it is possible to make an MMORPG character compelling, because people have different expectations about what the character will be, as opposed to a pre-designed character."
The point of an MMORPG or an RPG character is to give the player freedom. The character itself doesn't necessarily have to be compelling. The story does. But the character itself, you know, is usually just like a general background, and then the player can just do whatever they want. Now, I understand from a designer's perspective, it's not really the most ideal, because you're thinking of a story, and you're thinking probably one type of character, but at the end of the day, I think a lot of gamers are starting to like the fact that there's freedom. There's freedom in being able to craft your own character And instead of creating a specific character, from a dev side, all you have to do is give the player the necessary means to make the character whatever they want. Whether it is a brawler in a brawler build or a paladin build or whatever. Give the tools that is necessary to make that character. Now, I understand as a story writer and sort of a story writer and a creative mind, I understand that yes, you have a vision and you might have an idea of a character, but that's a completely different genre. It's not an MMORPG. And perhaps if you don't want to do an MMORPG and because you want to make a compelling character, perhaps that's not the correct genre you should be exploring with your job, because there are two different sides to it. One is to give the gamer freedom, the player freedom to do whatever they want and to make their own story with their own character that they have made. And then there's also the flip side of following in the footsteps of someone whose story is already made. But let's continue.
Character in a single player game. Honestly, this starts out fine, and she tweets a lot about this subject as
it's
she
definitely
is or
interesting
well
to think about
was a
it
part of the
through
narrative
a
team at
dev's
ArenaNet.
though.
But one user, a streamer known for playing Guild Wars 2, Durar, I think that's how you say his name, in a respectful way didn't agree with her opinion and even starts out complimenting her thread saying, "Really interesting thread to read. However, allow me to disagree slightly. I don't believe the issue lies in the MMORPG genre itself. I believe the issue lies in the constraints of the living story narrative design." He would also add
wait, go back. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what I was trying to say. I mean, the whole point of an RPG is to have freedom, right? But then on the dev side, like, okay, but what do you do with that? What does that mean? Like, there's so many alternatives, but there's so many choices, but you want your story to be told. You have this vision of the story, of the way it's supposed to be told, whether they're supposed to be the Dovahkiin, this epic warrior who goes to Sovngarde to battle Alduin or whatever, or, a survivor who wanders the wasteland after a nuclear explosion. And some people prefer it when there is this concrete storyline, but not everyone does. Some people actually enjoy the more sandbox, less of a story, but more of an opportunity for a person to make their own story. That's why games like The Elder Scrolls and Fallout and I don't really actually know off the top of my head any similar games where it's not where you just, I guess Saints Row, but Saints Row follows a line and it's not really. I don't play MMORPGs. I play RPGs, but they're so popular because you can make the story whatever you can make it. You can build your own characters. You can, in a way, make your own story out of a game that has been well developed, right? But being on the dev side, you want to tell your story. You have a specific vision, the way that you want it to turn out. You want these plot reveals, that you want this plot line, and it sounds great in your head. It sounds amazing, and you want the players to be able to experience it the way that you envision it. But for an RPG, it doesn't work out like that. An RPG, the player should be able to do whatever they want. Now, I personally, I'm mixed. I enjoy the games where I can make a story for myself. I can create this character, this vision in my head, this build that I have created using the game to tell the character's story. When I play Skyrim, I usually have a specific build in mind. Whether it's a Dwemer Centurion, whether it's a Flame Warrior, whether it's a, Shadow Thief or an Assassin. I usually have this sort of idea of what I want to do with the character to make it interesting for people to watch and for me to have some fun. Because I played Skyrim. I know everything about Skyrim. I know there's nothing exciting about new and exciting in Skyrim for me anymore. But I can make it more interesting and more exciting by creating this character of my own, and that's why MMOs or MMORPGs and RPGs are so popular is because they do, especially open world RPGs, they do allow this freedom to do whatever you want, and you can replay it so many times. One storyline, the problem with following one storyline and one character is the fact that, well, if you follow one storyline and you finish it, it's done. It's done. You're probably not going to play it again. Like Rise of the Tomb Raider was a great game. I loved the story. It was so good. The graphics were amazing. But I wouldn't play it again because I've already seen everything that I needed to see. I've already played everything that I needed to play. I've learned a story. I've learned that what that story was saying, and that's where it stops. Right now, I'm starting to really focus my own Twitch channel on story-driven games, whether it's Skyrim, Fallout, or even just a single-player run that I only intend to probably play once. Now, the games that I tend to stream are games that I'm already familiar with, just because I own them, and it's a lot cheaper to play a game that I already own, and I know that, but it's been a while, than to buy a new game and and so on and so forth. But yeah, I mean, there is this interesting conflict where the gamers basically want the devs to do a little bit less creating and more just having a platform, having a world where the character can just do whatever they want. And that's where you get things like, even like Fallout 76, where apparently there's not really a storyline, but there is a story in the game. I mean, the whole point of it is to explore and learn about the lore within the game itself, not necessarily through a character. And that's where, it really strives. NPCs are made for a reason to kind of push that story. But that's where an RPG will really excel if, and only really if, their environment, their books, their just the whole atmosphere tells the story itself. You tell it through the environmental changes. You tell it through the nuclear explosion that just happened and the weird creatures that are coming out, from that. You tell it not necessarily through saying it, but showing the difference, showing how something has changed for the last 200 years or whatever. There's a different way of telling that story in an RPG, and still having it be a compelling story that people are going to be able to get behind and enjoy. Anyways, let's move on.
Narrative design. He would also add a few more tweets supporting his point of view, and then he would be attacked by Price. She would quote his tweet saying, "Today, in being a female game developer, allow me, a person who does not work with you, explain to you how to do your job." A quick side note, recently in a stream before this incident, this same streamer complimented her.
Like, this was the perfect time to kill him off, because we needed something more.
Excuse me?
I love Jessica Price's responses. She is like the god of fucking AMAs. Like, she just gives great answers all the way through. It's absolutely amazing to read through.
Anyway, Durar would next say, "So much for an open
Why do people do this? Oh my gosh. Why does it have to be a female game dev, first of all? Why does it have to be female? Why can't it just be, today being a game dev, allow me, a person who does not work with you, explain you how to do your job? Excuse me? What? Wait, what was that original tweet again? What did he say? Am I reading that wrong? Really interesting thread to read. However, allow me to disagree slightly. I don't believe the issue lies in the MMORPG genre itself, as your wording seemingly suggested. I believe the issue lies in the constraints of the living story's narrative design.
Story narrative design.
What do you say? When you want the outcome to be the same across the board for all players' experiences, then yes, by design you are extremely limited in how you can construct the personality. Is that? I think it's construct the personality of the PC.
You would also add a few.
But if instead players were given the option to... Isn't this what I literally just said? That's funny. But if instead players were given the option to meaningfully express their character through branching dialogue options, which also aren't just on the checklist for an achievement, that forces you through all dialogue options... 3 or 4, because I can't count. Then perhaps players would be more invested in the role-playing aspect of the particular MMORPG. Nonetheless, I appreciate the insightful thread. Exactly, that's exactly what I just said. What'd you say back? Thanks for trying to tell me what to do internally. Wait, what? Thanks for trying to tell me what we do internally, my dude. You getting mad at my obvious attempt at creating dialogue and discussion with you, instead of just replying that I am wrong or otherwise correct in my false assumptions, is really just disheartening for me. You do you, though. I'm sorry if it offended you. I'll leave you to do it. I agree with her, though. She didn't ask for your opinion, and you came to her personal Twitter to unnecessarily dump your opinion onto her, and tell her how her job should be done? Do I go to your Twitter and tell you how to correctly make your YouTube videos? I don't understand this logic. It's a public Twitter. People make comments / respond all the time. They can choose to not respond or respond. The point in the medium of Twitter is irrelevant to the discussion. What? I'm so confused. What is the problem with what he said? He's making a discussion. He's making a conversation on Twitter, which is what exactly you are supposed to do when someone tweets out something. You want to have a conversation, especially if it's something that's so open-ended and so interesting to discuss about. It's definitely an enticing conversation, an enticing topic to debate about. What is more important, the dev making the story that they want told, or the player being able to make this story that they want to be told. And I don't understand what's wrong with that conversation. People are why? What is going on with the war? And where you can't have just a general conversation without someone being offended by it in a way that is uncalled for. I don't understand the reasoning behind this argument. She made her valid points. He made his valid points. I literally said the exact same thing that he said, by the way. But regardless, if you post something on Twitter, you should always expect a response. That's the whole point. It's an interactive social media network. It's not like Instagram where, you know, you just like the picture and move on. It's not like I don't know any other MySpace was just dead or like you would think that when you post a tweet on Twitter, you want a response, right? Most of the time I just tweet out, you know, going live tweets. But this is not the first time that I've seen this, though. I've seen this multiple times where someone posts like a YouTube comment under, you know, someone's video, right? And I reply to them, even though it's not my own video. I just reply to them to have a conversation or something, give my insight on it. And I get back, you know, I didn't ask for your opinion. I was talking to the YouTuber. It's an open platform, dude. And I didn't do anything wrong. It's how you make conversation. It's called civilization. Just because someone argues against your points and rebuttals doesn't mean it's offensive. Right? You would think.
A few more tweets supporting his point of forward point out that as if you know to explain the costly I'm in the wrong forum for this kind of talk. It never will, nor has this did never.
Amazing to read through.
Anyway,
Okay.
Durar would next say, so much for an open discussion, I guess. I mean, no disrespect at all.
And also, allow me, a person who does not work with you, explain to you how to do your job. I don't understand that. Is there something that I'm missing? Here's the thing, though. There are certain jobs. I mean, there are certain areas where you wouldn't want someone to comment about how you do your work and things like that. But game development and like movie directors and stuff like that, the movie industry, the gaming industry, the music industry, and so forth, are like basically art industries, are platforms where you should appreciate a thoughtful conversation and to be able to take that criticism, because with criticism comes, there's this thing called constructive criticism that is extremely important to progressing your content, making it better, and understanding what your audience wants. Being an artist is a creative, a content creator is so hard, because the person who's paying you is not your boss. It's the internet. It's your audience. Whoever it's stuff like game development, movies, music, art, commissions. All of that depends on constructive criticism. You want to take that criticism and you want to say, okay, this person said, this is how people feel. How can I improve on this? What should I take in for this? Because also, Durar or whatever, is a consumer. She is the seller, right? And the customer is always right in a sense, and it is. They are. because not in a rude way, but because they are ultimately the ones who give you the business, who make you money. They are the person. I can't speak. They are the, pretty much the sole responsibility of making your life. I don't know how to say this. I have it on the tip of my, you know what I'm trying to say. Like, there's being a Twitch streamer, right? I don't necessarily like it when people tell me how to stream and tell me what to do and play the games and tell me to play certain games, when I'm in the middle of another. And there's a certain unspoken rule on Twitch where you really shouldn't tell a streamer how to stream. But that doesn't mean we're not open for conversation. We want, as a Twitch streamer, I want to know how I can improve my channel to get more people interested in my content. That's how you grow. That's how you improve. That's how you get an understanding of exactly what your audience wants and sort of work from there. If the last thing that I want is to not know when there's an issue, when there's something that I'm not understanding, the last thing I want to have happen is there be silence. Because that hurts me the most. The creator, the person who is working on this. Why would I want to work so hard on something that, I don't know how to say this. I think I said pretty much what I need to say. Because, criticism is very needed. Commentary, discussions like this that is not aggressive needs to happen. This is how, why would a game developer or a company have a Twitter account to get feedback and criticism, right? Because otherwise they wouldn't have one. Whenever you post something public on Twitter, on Twitch, on YouTube, you should expect a response, because that's the whole point of a social media site. Oh my gosh, there's the word social. Do you understand what the word social means? It means two people interacting. It means multiple people interacting with each other on the same platform. Anyways, let's move on.
Never did, never will. Neither did I imply I knew better, nor has this anything to do with gender. Never did, never will.
Exactly.
I will retract my comment because obviously I'm in the wrong forum for this kind of talk. And following this, people would point out that Jessica Price's reaction was rude. And she would follow this up by saying, like the next rando asshat who attempts to explain the concept of branching dialogue for me as if, having worked in game narrative for a fucking decade, I have never heard of it, is getting insta-blocked. PSA. And additionally, since we've got a...
First of all, let's... You have never heard of branching dialogue? You work in the game developing a game narrative, and you have never heard of branching dialogue? No wonder you're having problems coming up, with a compelling character that for an MMORPG. You're working on an RPG. Do you understand what that means? A role-playing game. the player makes their character. There is no one compelling character. You have dialogue. You tell the story through the environment, through dialogue options, through other characters responding to that dialogue option. I'm sorry, but how have you never heard of branching dialogue? It's like one of the basic fundamentals of a role-playing game. Maybe you've only worked on games that are single player and story driven and don't have branching dialogue and only has one, you just play the game and there's just cutscene after cutscene. Maybe that's your specialty. But working to be a game developer myself and investing time into sort of getting to understand the game developing side of video games, and understanding the different genres and studying in that field. There's more ways to tell a story than just a cutscene put together. I mean, maybe she has only made games like Injustice or Mortal Kombat or the Arkham games or something where there is only one character and there is only one story. But there's also the other side to that, which is a role-playing game, which tells us the story, has to tell the story a little bit differently because, believe it or not, players get to choose what they want to do with the game. That's the whole point of a role-playing game. What decade did you work in game narrative? I'm sorry. I should stop.
Additionally, since we've got a lot of hurt man feels today, let me make something clear. This is my feed. I'm not on the clock here. I'm not your emotional courtesan just because I'm a dev. Don't expect me to pretend to like you here. The attempts of fans to exert ownership over our personal lives and times are something I am hardcore about stopping. You don't own me, and I don't owe you. And another tweet she would state in quotations, as an amateur fantasy writer, I would like to tell you, a professional fantasy writer.
Okay. Okay. Here's the thing. If you are a public figure, you are always on the clock. You are always being watched. I know that every single tweet that I post, I am responsible for. And it's my brand. And that tells people who I am. And that gives them the... I don't even know what to say anymore, to be honest. This is unbelievable. Wait. I need to read
another tweet.
Wait, I need to see that again. When you are a well-known figure, a person who has a large following, you're an influencer. That's the word. Influencer. When you are an influencer, you are always on the clock. It doesn't matter if you're on Twitter or if you're on Facebook or if you're on YouTube or Twitch or whatever. If you can be seen, you're on the clock. If your blog or bio says that you work for a company, you are representing that company. When people know that you are an employee of a certain company, You are representing what that company stands for. It doesn't matter where it is. It doesn't matter if it's online or in person. You had the choice of your profession. You could choose whatever job you want. And there are certain jobs that if you choose, you should know you are always on the clock for. Because here's the thing. Here's the thing. It doesn't matter if you're on the clock, right? I've heard so many stories of, people tweeting terrible things and their employers firing them for it because it represents them as a company. It represents their integrity. When you are on social media, everyone sees it. Everyone sees everything that you say and can interpret it every way they want. And this is clearly someone who doesn't understand how social media works. Especially someone who is such a well-known worker. Yeah, it'd be one thing if it's some no-name person. She is a very well-known person in the gaming industry, right? She should know that when you tweet, you represent the brand, the whatever, If it was private, that would be one thing. Okay, if it was a private personal account, that would be one thing. But she has made this account public. Everybody knows that she is, Jessica Price, right? It's a public account that everyone can see, and therefore, you are on the clock. It would be one thing if it were private, but this is not a private account. This is a public account. And therefore, you are a public figure. Companies can see your tweets. Customers can see your tweets. Whatever.
Stopping. You don't own me, and I don't owe you. And another tweet she would state in quotations, as an amateur fantasy writer, I would like to tell you, a professional fantasy writer, unquote, maybe listen to yourself.
Just shut up. What is this video? As an amateur fantasy writer, I would like to tell you, a professional fantasy writer. Professional. So what she means to say is that if you aren't a hired employee of an industry, you don't get to say anything about anyone. You don't get to make criticism. Even though you have common sense as a person, you can't comment on it because you're not established, shall we say. She thinks so highly of herself. It's so funny. She only ruins herself. Like, what was the point of this? What actually was the point of this? Just because you have this this almighty attitude that you're better than everyone, doesn't give you the right to be rude. I mean, I guess that's the whole point of being almighty and all, above everyone. This is... I don't even know.
And stop right there, my dude. Next, she would have another back and forth with a user leading to her saying, the comment I was talking about wasn't necessarily sexist. Your response implying my reaction was overblown or my experience of it didn't happen, however, is the shit women in games deal with every time.
Oh my god. Wait. What is with this gender card? What is with this irrelevant gender card? The gender women in video games deal with. I'm a female streamer. Okay. I understand what women on Twitch have to deal with. The trolls and everything. But here's a newsflash. Male streamers get the same thing. They also get trolls. They also get hate. They also deal with a lot of things. I don't know if that my mic. I think my mic picked it up, but here's the. I don't understand why there has to be this competition as to who suffers more. Right? Because while I understand what it's like to be a female streamer on Twitch, I also know that male streamers, I know plenty of male streamers who have gone through the exact same things. You know, just because, you know, they don't have trolls yelling boobs in the chat and, you know, and so on, doesn't mean that they haven't gone through their own hardships of being on Twitch. It's an open platform. People say things that hurt. It happens. It has nothing to do with being a woman. It has nothing to do with being transgender or whatever. I mean, honestly, sometimes it does. Sometimes, you know, some comments could be targeted towards a certain gender, and then, yeah, okay, maybe you can make the argument that that's what women in games deal with every time. But no. She and Anita Sarkeesian, whatever her name is, would be best friends, I think. Because it has nothing to do with being a woman. You're in an industry that is a public platform that will get feedback no matter what. Okay? Shall I continue? I certainly wasn't trying to imply that it didn't happen. Your reaction in that first tweet, without further context, came across that their criticism because they are an amateur, their words, meant less. I would have responded the same regardless of sex or gender. Exactly. That's the point. It's not about gender. I don't know where people keep pulling out the stupid gender card. It has nothing to do with gender. It has everything to do with the industry that you choose to be in. It has everything to do with it being a public platform. I understand that, you know, in some jobs, certain genders are not, or certain types of people are not respected as much as other types of people. But that does not give you the right to be entitled, to be arrogant, to pull all this, pull basically what I would say is the victim card out all the time. Because sometimes, believe it or not, it has absolutely nothing to do with what your gender is. It has absolutely nothing to do with who you are or what you are. It just has to do with the platform you are on. Everyone gets it. Everyone gets hate. It doesn't matter if you're male, female, gay, transgender, whatever, white, black, Asian. Everybody on a public platform will eventually get hate. It doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter who you are. You will get hate. It hurts. Yes, it does. but it has nothing to do with who you are. It's just trolls being trolls. Men get hate just as much as women get hate. It does. Yes, there are certain things that can be said that hurt a little bit more to certain types of people. It could hurt more, and so on. But sometimes it has literally nothing to do with the type of person you are. It has everything to do with the fact that the internet is an open place. You're going to get a lot of traffic. You're going to get a lot of interesting experiences. But you are responsible to dealing it the way that you choose to deal with it. If you simply just ignore them, it goes away. When they see that the hate is getting to you, they'll persist. They see that it's working, and they'll persist. But, being a Twitch streamer, I understand. You will have those days where you get hate. Or at least a troll. Or you deal with drama that is unnecessary. Believe me, I've been through my drama. I've been through plenty of drama. I've been through plenty of BS, and I've had trolls, and I've had haters, and I've had people. I've had a person whisper me, calling me the C word. And it was not a male. It was a female. It was another female who called me the C word. And it hurt. Yeah, it did. Because I didn't think it was that bad. I knew there was a drama going on. But I didn't think it was that bad. And it turned out it was. I tend to get a really good feeling as to when someone doesn't like me. I actually am probably 80% right most of the time. Or right 80% of the time when I have a feeling that someone doesn't like me or someone's saying something about me. I have really good observation skills, let's put it that way. But regardless, this has nothing to do with it. This has nothing to do with the gender that I am. It's just drama that happens and you move on to deal with it. It sucks, yeah, but it comes with the platform. You don't want hate? You don't want to deal with this? Here's an idea. Don't be on Twitter. Don't be on social media. Because when you are on the internet, you're going to deal with it. You're going to have to deal with it. Because you will get it. And if you do get it, don't take it personally. If you do get hate, ignore it. You don't need to bother with their time. You can just go ahead and block them if you really want to. And you can go, and if it's really bad, you can even report them probably on some sort of platform. And then you just leave it at that. And then you just move on with your life. That's the biggest thing, the biggest tip that I can give is don't feed the trolls. Don't let them know that they're getting to you. It's okay to be upset sometimes when you get a boatload of hate or whatever. And I understand. But just don't take it personally. Really. Most of the time, it's not personal. Most of the time, it's just a troll being a troll. Sometimes it is personal, and that's when it hurts. But you just have to move on and say, oh well, they don't deserve to be in my life. So, there you go. Anyways, moving on. Deep's discussion over.
Time we say
Or
anything
not,
about
I
our
don't know.
experiences, and you just
This is gonna
used
be a
your
long
one
video,
pre-block
guys.
strike.
Sit
And
tight.
the
I hope you
user
guys
would respond
enjoyed
saying,
the-
I certainly wasn't trying to
what
imply
I'm
that it
trying to
didn't
say.
happen.
I
Your
really hope you
reaction
guys
in that
enjoyed
first
the
tweet, without
conversation
further
that I'm having.
context,
I'm
came
really
across that their
glad I
criticism, because
reacted
they're
to
an
this
amateur,
because
their
there's a lot
words
to
meant
talk
less.
about.
I would have responded the same regardless of sex or gender. Acting like a child, she would last say, sure dude, now get out of my fucking feed with your assumptions and your entitlement to my time. Another Guild Wars 2 developer would step in, being Peter Fries, replying to a user who said, of course people are going to be sympathetic to the dude who got reduced to nothing but a mansplaining rando asshat, just for trying to have a meaningful discussion. I understand the desire to defend a colleague, but playing the whole gender card is just sad. Peter would respond saying, here's a bit of insight that I legitimately hope he reflects on. She never asked for his feedback. Someone would react saying, what the F? What kind of way of looking at the world is that? We didn't ask for our fans' input when we put our thoughts on social media, customer relations, and Peter would respond saying, these are our...
Okay, I'm gonna say this right now, okay? I'm gonna say this right now. Feedback is the most important thing a streamer can get. Feedback is absolutely necessary for any content creator. I should not have to ask for feedback to get feedback. I don't want to ask to get feedback. I want you to just tell me. I want you to give me feedback. I want you to tell me if you think something should change a little bit, or there's an audio issue, there's a maybe this particular aspect that you didn't, because I can then take that feedback and understand, okay, maybe they have a point and I can fix it, or I can just literally ignore it because I didn't, maybe it's something that I just don't want to do. To say that you have to ask, or the person's posting it has to ask before another person can respond to it, when it's on social media, it's on a public account where everyone can see it. Like, what's the point of... It's not a private social media account. It's a public social media account. You are a public figure. You are going to get responses because you have fans. It's what happens. You can have a normal conversation without getting all offended, shall we say. If you can even say offended. What even is this?
Private social media accounts. Imagine you're an astronomer and you start
Where
sharing
did this
some
come
things you've
from?
learned in the last few months since you began a research project observing Saturn, only to have observation techniques explained to you by a layman. Anyway, there's more responses, but this is the main gist of the situation.
I wonder what they think of Steam reviews. I wonder what they think about reviews. What about reviews? Have they ever read a review? Because that makes me wonder, I don't even... I think this video is going on too long. I don't even know. I really don't even know. I just don't know.
Two game developers decided to be rude. Jessica Price did not have to respond, and also the defense that these are their private accounts is bullshit. Twitter is a public platform, and there's a way to make your account private, but she and Peter Fries did not do that. The streamer was respectful, and even has a record of complimenting her, and while I'm sure people have been asses in the past, this response to this streamer's comment was uncalled for, and her other childish remarks were just plain disrespectful and unprofessional. And obviously their employer, ArenaNet, had enough, publicly announcing the firings of both Peter and Jessica.
Exactly.
Now, how do you think the reaction from the media would be? Two developers decided to act like fools publicly, being assholes to their community. If you thought the media would side with ArenaNet, you were wrong. Brianna Wu, a known game developer, would react saying, so when ArenaNet fired Jessica Price, what they also got rid of is accountability.
I don't understand anymore what the world is coming to. So essentially what the world... first YouTube, now Twitter, now people, just everyone just... Apparently supporting a cause gives you the immunity. If you support a cause, anything you say is no longer offensive. That does make me wonder if someone from the LGBTQA community who supports the LGBTQ plus community said a racial slur. I wonder what the reaction would be. You know, I'm just curious at this point. Because, I mean, they say, you know, because she's a supporter of accountability or whatever, when they got rid of someone who supports the LGBTQA, suddenly, you know, she shouldn't be fired because she was a jerk to someone. Anyone else would get the same treatment. Anyone else would be fired on the spot because they represent the they represent the company. Oh, why? What is my gender?
If you treat a woman poorly, Jessica will let you know. Same with POC or transgender people. ArenaNet just fired one of the strongest voices in the entire industry for inclusion and diversity. And from this one tweet, I guess being rude and acting unprofessional is alright, as she's a vocal voice for inclusivity and diversity. I guess that excuses her behavior. The media has also been clinging onto random Reddit users posting and bragging they can get anyone fired now. From ArenaNet, Kotaku published an article and more comments coming from Jessica Price, who said, "Nobody at ArenaNet is safe from the hand of Reddit. The moment a dev steps out of line or tries to talk back to a player, guess what? They'll know we got their hands on their throat and we can squeeze anytime we like. The message is very clear, especially
when
the woman at the company.
Stupid,
if Reddit wants you
probably
fired,
get
we'll fire
fired.
you. Get out of there and make sure the players have a good time, and make sure you smile while they hit you." A Kotaku user would respond to the article saying it's easy to point to Price's original comments as crossing the boundary or unprofessional in the context of her job, but of course that's not really the point for the people who wanted her fired. And they would also continue on, but that's the gist of their comment. And Kotaku's Heather Alexandra would react saying, "A major thing people seem to misunderstand is that Price is not speaking in an official capacity for the company while on Twitter. That's a space where she is speaking as a private citizen.
But it's not a private account. It'd be one thing if it was a private account. It is a public account. She is a public figure. Therefore, you're not a private citizen. If you are a public figure and your account is public on Twitter, you are liable to everything you say because that is you. Same for actors, actresses, celebrities, anyone with a known reputation, with a known whatever, a public figure, any public figure knows that whatever they say on Twitter will be taken seriously. What? Here's an idea. What happened when PewDiePie used his platform to I guess technically PewDiePie is a company. That doesn't make any sense. This doesn't make any sense. What's the point of using social media? I don't know. Don't
idea
know.
that developers should on perpetual call to endure the various nitpicks and armchair design of enthusiasts and Rabbit fans is silly. ArenaNet's decision, as you
don't
note,
know.
set a precedent. That precedent now shows that internet trolls can pressure a company for the slightest breach and successfully lobby until an employee can be fired. That they can target someone and drive them out of a job
Okay, sorry about that. I'm just. I don't even know what to say anymore. I really don't.
using the
I don't know
lightest
what to
of
say. I'm just gonna
cause.
play.
Even if
I'm
that's
just gonna
not
end it.
ArenaNet's intent, that's the effect,
I
and
think
it
I've
should
said
give
my
people
part.
pause. Polygon would create a one-sided article just like Kotaku's, also using comments made by other developers who called ArenaNet cowardly pieces of shit. Rock Paper Shotgun pretty much did the exact same thing with their article titled ArenaNet Throws 2 Guild War II Writers to the Wolves. Senior editor of Rock Paper Shotgun, John Walker, reacted saying utterly astonished by the pure idiocy and wretchedness of ArenaNet, literally saying to an abusive hate mob that they value your input over and above the value of their employees is completely disgusting. What a disgraceful shit show. And pretty much that is how the reaction has been, at least from the media. I have to say, we're at a point where the games media will defend about any progressive or social justice voice, no matter the situation, and I find that truly bizarre and saddening. Dror, a streamer partnered with ArenaNet, was attacked, and I can't find any evidence of a hate mob. The only comments I've seen that both of these developers responded to seemed respectful, and all I keep reading are excuses, people saying, well, she's had to deal with being a woman in this industry and this is a one-time thing. No, she has a
BS.
track record of making unfortunate, rude,
BS.
disrespectful comments. Sure, we could have a conversation if she should have been fired, but I respect ArenaNet's decision, and for what we
Here's
know
the
that
thing. I'm just gonna end it there. I'm gonna end the reaction there. I just stupidness. Yes, she should have been fired. Because here's the thing. ArenaNet is a business. Any business finds their reputation extremely important. If you know, ArenaNet sided with Price and the other guy, whatever, then there would have been a lot of backlash. In fact, I personally would not buy Gears of War. What is it? Gears of War 5, right? Was it Gears of War 5? Gears of War 2. Guild Wars 2. Sorry, I thought it was Gears of War. I don't know why I thought Gears of War. But Guild Wars 2. I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole. I wouldn't buy it. If that's what the devs think when I give a review or criticism, I'm not gonna bother. Because, like, what kind of attitude is that? It's not like he was being disrespectful. It's not like he was being remotely offensive. She's the one who was doing the offending part, right? But if this got further and this was older, the more time passes, as a company, you have to react fast. You see, things spiraling out of control. You need to do something to stop it. Whether it's a public statement saying you're defending your employees or you're firing them, you have to do something, because that tells everyone who is watching this, who is from the outside party, what your company stands for. Take United, for example, right? A man was beat up by security, dragged off of the plane, and that gets an outcry when the CEO defends his employees, their employees' actions. Everybody, there was a storm against United. I mean, no one's gonna actually boycott United, because you just get whatever's cheaper and you get whatever flight is going there. But what's the difference between that and an employee of a big company, attacking a consumer, just like United, less brutally, but attacking a consumer for no reason, and suddenly when the company decides to fire them, that's bad, because she was this blah 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 blah, because she was a woman in the industry, and because she was a progressive person. That doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. Why is it that if you support a certain cause, or you support something, whatever, then that makes it okay to be an a-hole? That doesn't make any sense, does it? I think I've said enough, guys. I think this video is long enough. Comment down below, what do you guys think? I'd love to have a wonderful discussion down in the comments below. And here's the thing, guys. Please give us feedback. As a streamer, feedback is one of the most important things that we can get as a content creator, as a YouTuber, as a Twitch streamer, as whatever I am. Feedback is always important and always welcomed on my channel. I will take it in. In fact, the best way to give me feedback would probably, honestly, I don't know. I don't actually know where the best place to give feedback is. I mean, technically it would be the YouTube comments, if I post it on YouTube. If you want to DM me, if you want to tweet at me, at Phoenix, at the Fiery Foe, you can do that. If you just join my Discord, honestly, join my Discord, and we can have a heartfelt conversation. I like having conversations like this. I like having insightful conversations, because that's what is the point of being on a social media account. And that's the whole point of having a social media account, is so you can interact with people and accept feedback and criticism. I'm done, guys. I'm done. If you guys enjoyed this video, like this video, subscribe or follow my channel. Subscribe to my YouTube, follow my Twitch, follow my Twitter, join my Discord, do all that fun stuff. And let the flames spend time, right? If you guys are amazing, peace out, have a good day. I'll catch you guys next time on the Flame TV. Peace out and stay awesome, guys. It's been a blast. Thank you guys so much for coming by. We'll see you guys in the future. Peace out and thanks for watching. Bye bye.